Hi, this is Matt and Nate with the Huge Movie Fanatics. I'm also Matt from State of Flux. You can check out my channel, State of Flux, maybe linked down below.
Possibly.
We'll see. We're here to talk to you about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. He said his piece on this very channel. You can watch the review. And I've said my piece on my very channel. You can watch that review.
No, I haven't talked about it yet.
Oh, you've never talked about this?
No.
Oh, well...
He lied. Matt just lied.
You're going to be watching it live right now.
Not live, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Fair enough. We messed up a lot, but that's okay. So did this movie.
You messed up. Anyway, I don't want to. I want you to come back. I gotta be easy to you.
Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is probably my least favorite Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, that's a relief.
In a franchise that I think has gotten worse with each subsequent installment. I think the best one is Raiders. I think the worst one is Dial. Each one is a step down in quality. That said, I didn't dislike this movie. I just found it to be remarkably unremarkable. There's an awful lot of meandering that happens in the middle of the movie where they're kind of just going from place to place to place, but Harrison Ford is the only thing that's really tethering it to quality, because I think for his entire film career, he gives his best performance ever in this movie, and it's kind of shocking. I think he is extraordinary, and he's the only reason to continue watching the film. He does really great work, and you see that he actually cares about this character, and he's invested in giving you some kind of conclusion. I think from a literary standpoint, from somebody who's interested in storytelling, there's a moment set up early on in the film where they're talking about what happens with Mutt Williams, Shia LaBeouf's character from the fourth one.
Yeah.
And his absence in the film, where he wishes that he could just go back and talk to him and fix this one wrong that could prevent his death. And you're like, oh, this whole movie's about playing with time and looking back at something. The logical conclusion of this movie is he's going to end by being able to say his piece. And the biggest misstep of the movie is he doesn't get that opportunity. And it seems weird. Like, my guess is that the script was written where he did have his cathartic moment with Shia, but at the last minute Shia was like, no, I'm not coming back. So instead they give it to, like, his, to Karen Allen. Which is fine, but, and I imagine that Karen Allen scene was probably in the original script as well, but it all builds to a reconciliation with his son that never happens, so instead he reconciles with his sort of wife love interest. I like the principle of the Dial of Destiny. I like that each time we have an Indiana Jones movie, it's some kind of belief structure that is mythologized, be it Jewish tradition of the Ark of the Covenant, or the stones. I can't remember what were the names of the stones in the Temple of Doom.
Oh yeah. Doesn't matter.
The Shikara stones.
Yeah, it could have been.
The Holy Grail, the Christian Holy Grail, the ancient aliens, crystal skulls, and in this it's ancient science. Just the belief structure of science and whatnot brought to extreme pulpy style. I liked that component of the movie. They just didn't play enough with it. I didn't love all the scenes where they're going back and allowing him to punch Nazis and stuff like that. Not that I'm not for punching Nazis, that's a good thing. But I just was like, there are other, like, big bads out there. I guess the necessity to punch Nazis in our present system makes sense again, but I don't know. The movie was just fine. Purely 2.5. It's okay. You're definitely going to see better Indiana Jones movies if you watch literally any of the other ones. I don't think this one's as sloppy as Crystal Skull, but Crystal Skull works more like an Indiana Jones movie than this one does, I felt.
It's funny how, like, as time goes on, I think we've talked about it, like, with Star Wars or something, how, like, I wasn't huge on Crystal Skull at the time, but, like, we talked about make the recent maybe Star Wars trilogy making the prequels look so good.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same thing with this. Like this for me makes Crystal Skull look really good. I was I didn't have same old story. You know me. I didn't have any hope for this movie, especially after Crystal Skull, and I didn't see it in the theater or anything. And I think I was able to get it relatively. I waited until it came to a decent price on Blu-ray. Figured it'd be good enough to have in the collection. Not necessarily. Like, it's interesting, like, the thing I like the most about it is probably what you maybe like the least, which is the de-aging of him and having him be in the 30s or whatever.
Like,
because
he looks good, but he also looks like an 80-year-old man with a 40-year-old face.
No, I don't disagree that the de-aging, like some of the people do them deep fakes that look better than the actual Disney de-aging. I'm not saying you're not right about that, but it's just like for me, like Indiana Jones just belongs in the 30s, so like the more time goes on and the more it's not, it's just like less Indiana Jones for me. So I appreciate, my favorite aspect of the movie was the beginning, that was the de-aged Harrison Ford in the 30s. And to me, Indy fighting Nazis is just never gonna get boring. Just call it that, like, old cliffhanger serial fan of me, the pulp, stuff, old time radio from the 30s. Like, that's just never boring to me because I love that era. So my favorite aspect, and it seemed like the opening scene in the 30s was a decent amount of time. It was like maybe 15 minutes or
it was
more.
A good chunk. Yeah, I think it was more than that.
Yeah, so my favorite aspect of the movie was the 30s or with the Nazis and stuff, and it was interesting seeing that Mr. Guy from, the first thing I think a lot of us saw him in was, the bad guy from Casino Royale, and he's such a good bad guy. And it was kind of cool to see him as an Indiana Jones bad guy. I want to say, it's like, I think it's interesting how like the bad guy didn't really age, I think, as much as he should have from like the 30s to was it late 60s in
It's 1969, right? Because they're like preparing for the moon landing.
The moon landing, right? So it's like the bad guy didn't really age appropriately, but. Yeah, I found this to be, I guess the word, I'm not exactly sure what it means, but I think it applies like derivative. What does that word mean?
Like more of the same.
Yeah, and I found the CG, like one of my big complaints with movies, especially action movies, is like the CG action with all the green screen and the chase scenes. It's like, I can't even get excited with it because they're not even doing it for real. Maybe there's some real shots in there, but I mean, if you've got the actors, it's like in front of green screen, and it's like the action I can't even really I don't even care about. I think it's like that female character I thought was just annoying. That's probably probably not surprising to you. Like, to me, she was just annoying and like, oh my god, like, you want this to be able to rise and she gets killed or whatever, but that never happened. I found her to be ridiculously annoying, and there was like some other sidekick. I don't think he was as annoying. I only saw it once. No, I saw it twice. And but I really agree with you in regards to the whole thing was building towards reconciliation with the son that never happened, and it was like, you're probably right. Like, I don't know what it's
the fact that the movie stops dead for like a whole 2-minute segment for him to say everything he needs to say to the son, to Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, is like, oh, this is important because we're going to come back to it. And then I think it's there because he refused to come back, and they just had to stick it somewhere, because it's without that scene, the movie's actual ending also kind of doesn't work.
Yeah, you're probably right. So when he didn't come back, then they probably had him say it to the annoying bitch. But I don't know all I know is what I was gonna say is like what happens. What I can remember happening with like the time and travel towards the end was kind of cool and kind of eye rolling at the same time. Like, oh, Indy gets to witness the Roman times? I can't even remember.
I can't remember. I've only seen it once, and that was in theaters.
Okay, yeah. The Roman, some big Roman battle, and I thought, I thought it was going to be kind of cool because I was thinking that he wanted to stay there.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought that was cool, but at the same time, it's kind of like, you know, Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters, like he's got the wife, you know, that'd be kind of mean. And it was kind of mean of the bitch to, like, if he wanted to, you know, that's her name, the bitch. It was some different name in the credits, I don't know why, but it was kind of mean of her to, like, you know, what he stated, what he wanted. I want to stay here. And it was kind of mean of her to deny him that and take him back to present time.
I think the ultimate ending of the movie where he learns to not live in the past is a stronger thing, and also one that we as a society should probably turn to, because by living in the past, all we're going to get are more retreads of like Indiana Jones, because we can't come up with any new shit, or remaking Star Wars and calling it Force Awakens or anything like that. So I land with the sentiment that she pulls him out of the past because we need to stop living there.
Okay.
So I'm fine with with him not being there. I think I would have been more upset, but I loved his performance when he was trying to stay there.
Yeah, and one thing, you know, that I was kind of touched by when you were talking about it is like, yeah, it makes me want to go back and revisit, you know, because, I mean, Harrison Ford's pretty much always great, but it was interesting how you were really, like, you called it the best performance.
I do think it's, like, he's certainly been in better movies. He's been in better Indiana Jones movies.
But what was it when he was talking about it, like, what was the...
He gives a more honest emotional performance than I've ever seen, and at one point he had said that this was going to be a retirement movie. He's of course in Captain America coming out in a couple of months, so that's not true anymore. But I think on a certain level he believed it, and I think there was an honest sincerity to his emotional beats that really work. He was really funny when his character called for the humor. He still brings the physical presence, even for a man who is 82 years old. I think he just kind of captured all those components, and much more so than when he was playing Han Solo. I think he wanted to be there, and that shows. Whereas Han Solo, he wanted to give himself a good death scene, and so he was invested in that scene, but most of the rest of the movie he's just kind of like, yeah, Chewie, we're home. And that's kind of his energy that he brought to the Harrison Ford, and that's not how the Force works. And like he's just saying things. Like I didn't feel like any of that was like he was present.
Okay.
This one, I think he was much more honestly there. So yeah, I don't know. It's okay.
Did you give stars?
Yeah, I gave it 2.5 out of 4. It's perfectly fine, but the worst Indiana Jones movie.
I probably can't go any higher than 1 star out of 4 stars for Dial of Destiny. So it's kind of interesting. I don't think there's any other Indiana Jones reviews on this channel, but maybe someday that'll be fixed, maybe not. But we're just reviewing it because it's the most recent and it's on our list and there. So if you're done...
I'm done.
I'm not. I'm just beginning. Just kidding. Thanks so much for watching, and catch you on the next video.